So, hello, I'm in my chair of wisdom again. I didn't expect to do a second podcast today. Frankly, I've only slept for 6 hours in the last 2 days, and probably less over the last four, so I'm a little bit tired and running out of ideas and steam to make these videos. You can even see on my complexion that I'm quite tired. Unfortunately, the camera's bombing, so let's try to correct this as well. Okay, so what got me thinking was about men protecting women. Now, uh, I'm not. Wow, every time you preface this, I'm not a racist, I'm not a sexist, that kind of stuff. It always is followed by some kind of sexist statement, so I don't even want to begin to bridge that. Uh, some of the worst beatings that I've received in my martial arts career came at the hands of women, specifically at their feet. I don't want to give specific names, but there are two sisters from Khan's Karate who were the direct inspiration for me to develop the 50 kicks on one leg and 75 kicks on one leg and 100 kicks on one leg because they could kick and they could hold they had such hip strength they could keep their legs up and they could just fire these side kicks off non-stop and you could never get through their offense to actually tag them. They were phenomenal at it. As far as I know, they've transitioned to healthcare and yoga, and I hope they still practice. But they were phenomenal kickers, and some of the greatest fighters that I've personally fought weren't men; they were women. Um, so I want to get that out of the way that about women not being able to defend themselves and not fight. That's just not the case. There are plenty of videos online that can back up about that have evidence of women defending themselves, and I don't want to put myself on the side of saying that men have a right to defend women. Now, that being said, in martial arts, when you're trained to defend yourself, you're trained to ideally also protect your family and your property. Now, I'm not saying women are property, I mean housing, stores, cars, that kind of stuff. Um, and ideally, if your significant other, if you're male and you have a significant other who's female or male who gets attacked, you can hopefully use your martial training to defend them. This may or may not be successful, but it occurs to me that I can't always be there to protect someone that I care about, and even then, I might actually be there, and there's nothing I can do. I was in a star robbery November 2nd, 11:58 at night at a 7-Eleven across the street from a police station. Not exactly the smartest crooks. When they came in to rob the place, ordered everyone on the ground, and my significant other didn't drop. And they immediately focused on her. And fortunately, enough time was bought between me and them for them to get spooked and then leave. It occurs to me that there's no that even if you're there, you may not be able to actually protect them. Even if you have a firearm, hopefully you can, but it's life. Things don't always go the way that we plan and train for them to. So it occurred to me since then that perhaps the most astute way to ensure that someone I care about is protected is to teach them myself. I've taught martial arts since I was 12 years old. I do a kind of quick fire method, and that's basically just nonstop sparring. I'll do kata and I'll go over techniques and things like that, but the main focus is on sparring. My theory, as a squirrely small fellow at 5'4" and usually 120 pounds, is to not get hit. I'm usually pretty good at predicting where to be in a fight, and that usually allows me to avoid. I don't believe in dodging. I evade the strikes that are coming for me. It's not hard. They're aiming for me. They're usually aiming for my head or my body. Move. So, in fact, there have been sparring. Not to top myself as some kind of badass, but there's one boxer I sparred who, in 33 punches, he was not able to land a single one because of how much I was able to move around in that setting. So my theory is if my significant other can tag me, and by tag me, my test is usually to draw blood. If they can tag me, then chances are good that they will be fine on the street reasonably. I still believe that women should have mace. That they should. Well, perhaps I shouldn't have a chemical weapon. but they should have kubo baton. I carry a kubo baton. They should carry knives if they have access to a firearm and they feel comfortable using it and are trained. They should have that too. But it doesn't hurt to teach your significant other how to protect themselves. And I mean that also for children. When I have kids, I don't really care if they don't want to do martial arts. At a certain point, they'll have a choice to continue, but I'm going to make sure that at least they're not going to be victims in this world. I grew up in America where it's not exactly safe, but it's very secure. And this creates a kind of false illusion that the entire world can be like that, and it's just not the case. I'm not saying it's like Taken, where you're going to get kidnapped and raped and that kind of stuff, but I've had an aunt I have had an aunt and a stepbrother who both died respectively thanks to rapes uh, in their countries of origin. So I understand that this is a reality. The greatest threat to women is men. And I don't want to make it seem that women are some kind of weaker sex, because they're not. Again, some of the worst beatings that I've gotten came from women, not including my mom. So my point is more so, if you have the knowledge to protect yourself, we have an obligation not only to protect those that we care about, but to teach them to also protect themselves. We're not saying, turn them into masters, but if you're someone who's known to be hard to hit, and your partner can suddenly strike you, and someone watching and go, wow, she was taught well, chances are good that when someone tries to attack her, they're going to think twice when she puts up that fight. That's my rationale for teaching my significant others martial arts. I tend to almost always purchase them gloves. I try to make it a point to at least once a week, maybe twice a week, until they're capable to strike me. Once they can strike me, they can usually do it pretty reliably, and I like to try to stay as pretty as possible. But once they can strike me, they're pretty solid to protect themselves on the street. I don't hold things back. I'll teach them how to kick. I'll teach them how to throw. I'll teach them how to punch, dodge, weave, all the essentials so that they can survive any kind of situation that might potentially come up. How to get in a car safely, how to run corners safely. There's a whole plethora of things that go beyond just fighting, but the important thing is to keep those that you care and that you love safe. Now, you can't teach a dog or a cat these things, but you can certainly teach another human being who you love and want to see have a safe life continue to do so. And this is my rationale for teaching them. I expect my children and my significant other to eventually, with time, be able to tag me as someone who has practiced for close to 26 years so that they can protect themselves on the street. I don't want them to ever be restricted to where they live because they have a fear that they're going to a dangerous place and that keeps them from being able to actually experience life. I'm currently in a war zone doing humanitarian work. This is specifically because I can defend myself. And I've had to do so here. I've had to fight off a hyena. I had to kill a hyena. I've almost been abducted by Bedouins. I've been stabbed. There's plenty of issues that can come up, no matter, even if you know how to defend yourself. But the chances are greater for survival when you're trained and you're able to actually handle a situation in a calm manner. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. I apologize for the noise for the computer. And I hope I made a convincing argument for why, if you practice martial arts, it's not just a hobby. It's an obligation to protect those that you care about. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a great evening.